I borrowed my brother's girlfriend to avoid chaos. But now my family's against me and my wedding's in jeopardy. I'm 28, and in just 2 months, I'll be marrying Adam, who's 29. Growing up, my family life was always centered around my youngest brother, Tommy, who's now 24. With three older siblings, Dylan, 32, Chris, 30, and me, Tommy, as the baby of the family, was the one everyone doted on, especially Mom. Dylan was the dependable oldest sibling, following in Dad's footsteps into the family business. Chris was the athlete who got a full scholarship to college. And me? I was the hardworking middle child who rarely got much attention. Tommy was different. He had trouble in school, couldn't keep a job, and every time he messed up, Mom would cover for him, saying he's just finding his path. Meanwhile, she'd pressure the rest of us to help him financially. This kept going well into our adult lives. When Dylan got married, Tommy threw a fit because he wasn't the best man, even though he barely knew Dylan's wife. When Chris bought his first house, Tommy assumed he could move in rent-free because that's what family does. And when I landed a big promotion, Tommy complained that my company hadn't given him a job interview, even though he wasn't remotely qualified. Then Rachel entered the picture. She showed up about 2 years ago, dating my fiancé Adam's brother, Mark. I didn't know her well back then, but I noticed red flags early on. She constantly posted about her perfect relationship with Mark, while he seemed increasingly unhappy. Eventually, Mark discovered she'd been seeing other guys on the side and ended things. A few months later, she reappeared, now dating Tommy after they met at a party. Tommy didn't know about her past with Mark, and Mark, now wanted to stir up drama, asked us to keep it quiet. We figured it wouldn't last, but instead, things got worse. 3 months ago, Mark showed me some alarming messages from Rachel. She'd been texting him late at night, saying she missed him and wanted to explain herself. Some messages even hinted at meeting up secretly. Mark tried ignoring her, but after she started sending him revealing photos, he came to us for advice. I was torn about whether to tell Tommy. In our family, anyone who delivers bad news is treated like the villain. I learned that the hard way when I told Dylan years ago that his ex was cheating on him, and it somehow became my fault. But having Rachel at my wedding, knowing what she'd been doing behind Tommy's back, didn't sit right with me. So, I made the call. Tommy's invitation went out without a +1 for Rachel. Unsurprisingly, Tommy blew up. He called Mom in tears, claiming I was singling him out since Dylan and Chris were allowed to bring their wives. Mom called me immediately, demanding to know why I was excluding Tommy's girlfriend. I tried to explain that we were keeping things small and intimate, but Tommy wouldn't hear it. Soon, he was posting passive-aggressive comments on all my wedding-related social media, and his friends, who didn't know the full story, joined in, calling me a bridezilla. Then things reached a boiling point. Tommy showed up at my house with Mom, and they ambushed me with accusations of favoritism and unfairness. Tommy even threatened to boycott the wedding and expose me to everyone. That's when I finally snapped. I told him everything, showing him the screenshots of Rachel's messages to Mark. Instead of listening, Tommy accused me of faking the messages out of jealousy. Mom, of course, took his side, insisting I was trying to ruin his one good relationship because I'd always been jealous of his happiness. And just like that, my family split down the middle. Dylan and Chris, without even looking at the evidence, insisted I should back down to keep the peace. Extended family started messaging me, saying I should focus on unity and forgiveness. Dad, as always, stayed silent to avoid upsetting Mom. Adam and Mark stood by me, along with Adam's family, who knew Rachel's history and understood completely. But my own family painted me as the villain trying to tear Tommy down. All I wanted was a wedding free from the drama of someone who might try to hit on my future brother-in-law. I didn't think that was too much to ask. After I told Tommy about the messages Rachel had sent to Mark, everything exploded. He accused me of fabricating the entire story to sabotage his happiness. Mom, true to form, immediately took his side, insisting that I was jealous of Tommy's relationship and just wanted to ruin it. She kept telling me I'd always tried to make him miserable because he was Mom's favorite. To say I was stunned would be an understatement, but I refused to back down. From there, things escalated fast. Dylan and Chris chimed in, saying that I should just let it go and include Rachel for the sake of peace. It didn't seem to matter to them that I had proof of Rachel's manipulations. They just wanted to avoid conflict. Meanwhile, Tommy took to social media to play the victim. He started posting passive-aggressive comments under my wedding posts, implying I was controlling and manipulative. His friends joined in, calling me a bridezilla, and soon, even extended family members were messaging me, saying I should learn to forgive and forget. Dad, as usual, stayed silent, not wanting to upset Mom. And then Rachel jumped in. Somehow, she got my personal number, most likely from Mom, and began bombarding me with texts. First, she played the innocent victim, accusing me of tearing apart her relationship and breaking Tommy's heart. When I didn't respond, her tone quickly turned nasty. She started sending me threatening messages, claiming she had dirt on Adam and would expose him at the wedding. She even hinted that she had inappropriate photos. I knew Adam had no involvement with her, but Rachel's threats were enough to make me anxious. The final straw came when Mark's ex, Lily, reached out to me. She had dated Mark before Rachel and wanted to warn me about her. Apparently, Rachel had a long history of causing trouble in relationships, always playing the victim when things went wrong. Lily even had screenshots of Rachel trying to reconnect with Mark while she was dating Lily's brother. This was just more proof of Rachel's manipulative behavior, but when I tried to share it with my family, things went from bad to worse. Mom decided to organize a family meeting to clear the air, but it was a setup. When I arrived, it wasn't just my immediate family. Aunts, uncles, even our old neighbor Mrs. Peterson, who had known us since childhood, were there. Mom had gathered the whole family to put me on trial, so to speak. And to top it off, Rachel was there, dressed conservatively and carrying a photo album filled with pictures she'd taken from our family's social media. She'd even edited herself into photos from before she knew us, making it look like she was a long-standing part of our family. Mom, clearly having helped her prepare, gave a speech about family unity and forgiveness, bringing up every small mistake I, Dylan, and Chris had made over the years, insisting that if the family could forgive us, we could certainly forgive Rachel. Then Rachel, in her most innocent voice, shared evidence that Mark had been pursuing her. She showed some screenshots of text messages, but they were obviously edited. The dates didn't line up, and some were using iPhone text bubbles even though Mark has always had an Android. When I pointed this out, Tommy accused me of trying to ruin his life and brought up childhood incidents where he felt I didn't support him. 3 hours later, after an exhausting round of emotional manipulation and guilt tripping, my parents finally delivered an ultimatum. Either include Rachel in the wedding or they wouldn't attend. They even suggested that I make her a bridesmaid to heal the family rift. I was speechless. That was the final straw for Adam, too, who had been quietly supportive through this entire mess. He suggested we just change our wedding plans entirely. We're seriously considering a destination wedding in Bali. Adam's parents have been incredibly supportive and even offered to help with the costs. My family's reaction to this idea has been predictably harsh. Tommy made a TikTok video about toxic siblings that gained some attention in our small town, while Mom's bridge club ladies are now calling me selfish. Even my childhood best friend, Lisa, who was supposed to be a bridesmaid, hinted that I was being too harsh. The unexpected support has come from Mark's new girlfriend, Katie, who reached out to tell me she'd had her own encounters with Rachel during university and could vouch that her pattern of behavior went back years. Katie's story helped me feel less alone, reminding me that I wasn't overreacting or causing unnecessary drama. Over the last 2 months, things have gone from bad to worse. After Adam and I made the decision to hold our wedding in Bali, our plans back home started to fall apart. For starters, our original wedding venue contacted us, confused. Apparently, Tommy had reached out to them claiming to be our wedding planner, attempting to add Rachel to the guest list and even seating arrangements. Thankfully, the venue was suspicious of his email address and called me to confirm. This wasn't Tommy's first attempt to manipulate situations behind my back. Back in college, he once called one of my professors pretending to be my doctor to get an extension for a project, all because he needed help with his own assignments. Naturally, Mom defended him back then too, saying he was just being helpful. But the real turning point came at Dylan's son's first birthday party. Rachel showed up, despite not being invited, got drunk, and caused a scene. She cornered Mark near the bathroom and tried to kiss him. When he pushed her away, she fell dramatically, making it look like he'd pushed her. Multiple guests witnessed the whole thing, including Tommy's longtime friend Ben, who had always been loyal to Tommy. But instead of finally seeing Rachel's true colors, Tommy spun the story in her favor, claiming that Mark had been harassing Rachel throughout the party and had taken advantage of her vulnerable state. When Ben tried to tell Tommy what he had actually seen, Tommy accused him of siding with me out of loyalty. Things got so heated that Tommy showed up at Mark's workplace the next day, an elementary school where Mark teaches fourth grade, and started yelling in front of parents dropping off their kids, accusing Mark of being a predator. The school had to call security, and Mark almost lost his job. The only thing that saved him was the school's security footage, which clearly showed Tommy's outburst. You'd think that would finally make my family realize how out of control things had gotten, but instead, Mom blamed Mark for provoking Tommy by even attending the birthday party. She even suggested that Mark should consider finding a new job for everyone's peace of mind. Dylan and Chris, while their wives were on my side, reluctantly backed Mom up. Rachel took things to a new level. She announced she was pregnant. She posted a vague picture of a positive pregnancy test on Instagram with a caption about true love and commitment. Naturally, Mom was ecstatic, planning a baby shower and telling everyone she was finally going to be a grandmother. But soon after, questions started piling up about appointments and due dates, and Rachel claimed to have suffered a miscarriage, blaming the stress I was causing her. She even posted about toxic family members and emotional trauma on social media, tagging me in several posts. Tommy, meanwhile, threatened to sue me for emotional distress over the supposed loss, though he never actually filed anything. All through this, we continued planning our Bali wedding. We kept the guest list small, inviting only 30 people, mostly Adam's family and a few close friends. My dad, who had finally seen the security footage from Mark's school incident, had reached his limit. He decided he'd attend our wedding in Bali, even if it meant defying Mom, that I felt like someone in my family was on my side, but the fallout wasn't over yet. Rachel and Tommy took things even further. They announced their engagement on social media, with Rachel showing off a ring that looked suspiciously similar to one she once posted about Mark giving her, a ring he never actually gave her. Her post included a long, dramatic caption about overcoming betrayal and staying strong in the face of those who want to tear true love apart. Shortly after this, my dad finally moved out of the family home, unable to handle Mom's constant defense of Tommy and Rachel any longer. He's staying with his brother while he looks for his own place, and he's even started dating a lovely woman from his church group. The wedding in Bali is just 3 weeks away. We've hired security in case Tommy and Rachel try to crash it, and Mark was able to get a restraining order against Tommy after the incident at his school. Adam's family has cut all ties with Tommy and Rachel entirely, and it's clear that this mess has left scars that may never heal. 6 months after our Bali wedding, life feels peaceful for the first time. The wedding was everything we'd hoped for, intimate, drama-free, and surrounded by people who genuinely supported us. My dad walked me down the aisle, and we finally got to celebrate our love without the chaos from back home. While we were on our honeymoon, though, everything back home unraveled. Tommy's old friend Ben, who had been silently observing Rachel's manipulation, finally had enough. Rachel tried to seduce him, and he managed to record her advances and confessions. In that recording, she admitted to faking the pregnancy, manipulating Tommy against his family, and still seeing other men. Ben sent this evidence to Tommy along with Rachel's dating profiles. At first, Tommy refused to believe it, calling it all a setup. But Rachel made a mistake that exposed her fully. One night, drunk at a bar, she started bragging to strangers about how she had the perfect fool in Tommy. Coincidentally, Chris's wife's cousin overheard her and recorded the whole thing, then shared it in our family's group chat. This time, Tommy couldn't deny it. He even caught her with Dylan's best friend, Rob, at a hotel. Tommy's meltdown went viral in our local Facebook group, and even after all this, Mom somehow blamed me, saying I had pushed Rachel into another man's arms. Dad, who'd had enough, called her out, saying her constant enabling had destroyed the family. He has since moved out and found new peace with a kind woman he met at his church. Dylan and Chris eventually sent half-hearted apologies, but it was clear they were more interested in saving face than mending things. Tommy moved back in with Mom, who's now telling everyone he's healing from betrayal. Meanwhile, Rachel moved in with Rob and continues to post cryptic messages about escaping narcissistic families. Adam's brother, Mark, is happily engaged to his new fiancée, Katie, and they're expecting their first child. As for Adam and me, we're settling into a new state, far from the drama, and are excited to start our own family. We recently found out we're expecting twins. For now, we're keeping the news close, sharing it only with Adam's family and my dad.